In the popular imagination, the American dream is often painted as a solitary climb, a lone figure pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. But for the women we are about to meet, that climb was never solitary. It was powered by the weight of history, the rhythm of a distant homeland, and the unyielding ambition of the Gold Coast. We are tracking a specific kind of dynasty today. We are looking for the women who carry the DNA of Ghana, a nation known for its ancient wealth, its Ashanti royalties, and its fiercely independent matriarchs, and have transplanted that power into the high-stakes soil of the United States. From the boardrooms of Uber and Netflix to the exclusive fashion ateliers dressing first ladies, the women on this list have amassed fortunes that are measured not just in dollars but in global influence. This is the story of ambition, heritage, and the women who turned the Black Star of Africa into American diamond status. Number 10. Nana Mensah, the indie architect of cultural capital. We begin our journey in the fiercely competitive world of independent cinema and television, where wealth is often built not on a single paycheck, but on the compounding value of intellectual property. Nana Mensah represents a new generation of Ghanaian American wealth, the hyphenate millionaire. She is not just an actress, she is a writer, a director, and a producer who understood early on that ownership is the only true freedom in Hollywood. Born in New Haven, Connecticut, to Ghanaian parents, Nana's upbringing was a masterclass in the duality of the immigrant experience, balancing the Ivy League expectations of her family with the artistic hunger of New York City. While most actors spend years waiting for the phone to ring, Nana was busy building the phone itself. Her role in the Netflix hit The Chair, or her presence in New Amsterdam, might be how the mainstream public recognizes her, but insiders know her real power lies in her pen and her lens. Her directorial debut, Queen of Glory, was not just a film, it was a cultural asset. By writing, directing, and starring in a story about a Ghanaian-American scientist who inherits a Christian bookstore in the Bronx, she didn't just tell a story, she carved out a piece of cinema history that she owns. The film swept festivals, earning accolades that translate into grants, future funding, and the kind of prestige that opens doors to 8-figure production deals. Her wealth portfolio is diversified in a way that is typical of the modern creative class. It is a mix of union-scale acting fees, which for recurring TV roles can easily hit the mid-six figures annually, combined with writing royalties and production credits. But Nana's value goes beyond the screen. She sits at the intersection of American indie credibility and African narrative authority. In a Hollywood that is desperate for authentic, diverse stories, Nana Mensah has positioned herself as a primary supplier. She is the bridge. When major studios need to understand the nuances of the African diaspora, they don't just hire her as talent, they hire her as a consultant, a voice, and a visionary. Her lifestyle reflects this sophisticated bi-coastal hustle. She moves through the creative hubs of New York and Los Angeles, commanding spaces that were once closed to African women. She is proof that in the new economy of storytelling, cultural authenticity is a form of currency. Nana Mensah is building a legacy that proves you don't have to compromise your heritage to cash the check. In fact, your heritage is the reason the check has so many zeros. Number 9. Freema Agyeman, the transatlantic TV titan. If Nana Mensah is building wealth through indie ownership, our next entry built hers through the sheer, undeniable power of global television syndication. Freema Agyeman might be British-born, but her financial fortress is firmly cemented in the American entertainment industry. Born to a Ghanaian father and an Iranian mother, Freema's career is a testament to the lucrative nature of crossing the Atlantic. She first exploded onto the scene as Martha Jones in the legendary BBC series Doctor Who. For many, that would have been the peak. Sci-fi conventions, autograph signings, and a comfortable life on the British acting circuit. But Freema had her eyes on a bigger prize: the US network drama. In the world of acting, there is working actor money, and then there is US network procedural money. The latter is a different stratosphere. Freema landed a lead role in the Netflix sci-fi drama Sense8, a cult hit that proved she could carry a global production. But her real financial level up came when she was cast as Dr. Helen Sharp in the NBC hit medical drama New Amsterdam. Network TV in America pays differently. For a lead actress in a primetime show that runs for multiple seasons, the salary per episode can range from $50,000 to over $150,000, depending on tenure. Multiply that by 22 episodes a season, over 5 seasons, and you are looking at a multi-million-dollar revenue stream from a single job. But the wealth doesn't stop when the camera's cut. Syndication is the gift that keeps on giving. New Amsterdam was one of the most popular shows on Netflix and broadcast TV, meaning Freema Agyeman collects residuals every time an episode airs, streams, or is licensed in a new territory. This is passive income at its finest, the kind of wealth that allows for a lifestyle of quiet, high-end luxury. Freema is known for her impeccable style, often seen in designer pieces that reflect a sophisticated, cosmopolitan aesthetic. She splits her time between London and New York, maintaining residences in 2 of the most expensive real estate markets in the world. Her Ghanaian heritage has always been a subtle but present part of her identity, grounding her in an industry known for its volatility. She supports various charitable causes and maintains a connection to her father's homeland, but her business strategy is purely global. She represents the international Ghanaian woman, mobile, adaptable, and highly bankable. Freema Agyeman didn't just break into America, she became a fixture of its living rooms, turning primetime ratings into a personal fortune that will last for decades. Number 8. Hyde, the media mogul and creator economy queen. We move now from those who star in the shows to the women who create the entire universe the shows live in. Hyde is a force of nature, a British Ghanaian media entrepreneur who has conquered the African continent and is now making massive waves in the US and global markets. She is not just a TV personality. She is a showrunner, a producer, and a media executive who understands the business of attention better than almost anyone. If you have watched the glossy, high-drama, wealth-flaunting hit Young, Famous, and African on Netflix, you have witnessed Hyde's genius. She is the creator and executive producer of the first African reality series to become a global obsession. Selling a show to Netflix is not like selling a script to a local station. It is a multi-million-dollar transaction that comes with global distribution rights and production budgets that rival Hollywood films. Hyde identified a massive gap in the market. The world was tired of seeing Africa through the lens of poverty. They wanted to see the glam, the jets, the fashion, and the drama. She packaged that desire and sold it to the biggest streaming platform on Earth. But her wealth is not just tied to one show. Is a media polymath. She started as an education specialist before pivoting to media, a background that gave her a unique analytical approach to content. She served as the head of digital media and partnership for Forbes Africa, a role that put her in the room with the continent's billionaires. She didn't just interview them, she studied them. She learned how Aliko Dangote moves, how Folorunsho Alakija invests, and she applied those lessons to her own brand. Her net worth is a mix of production fees, executive salaries, and brand partnerships. She travels in private jets, stays in the most exclusive suites from Lagos to Los Angeles, and commands speaking fees that reflect her status as a premier media authority. Her influence extends into education as well through her nonprofit, Aim Higher Africa, which helps entrepreneurs build their own businesses. Hyde is the definition of the modern media mogul. She creates the culture, she owns the IP, and she cashes the check. She proves that the most valuable resource Ghana has to export today isn't gold or cocoa, it's stories. And Hyde is selling them at a premium. Number 7. Taiye Selasi, the literary it-girl and cultural aristocrat. In the hierarchy of wealth, there is new money, and then there is cultural capital. Taiye Selasi possesses an abundance of both. She is a writer, a photographer, and a thinker who coined the term Afropolitan, a word that defined an entire generation of mobile, wealthy, and culturally hybrid Africans. Born in London to Nigerian and Ghanaian parents and raised in Massachusetts, Taiye has always moved through the world's most elite circles. She is a graduate of Yale and Oxford, possessing the kind of pedigree that opens doors to the upper echelons of American and European society. Her debut novel, Ghana Must Go, was not just a book. It was a global literary event. It was endorsed by Toni Morrison and Salman Rushdie, landing on bestseller lists and earning critical acclaim that translates into substantial royalties and speaking engagements. But Taiye's wealth is not just about book sales. She operates in the rarefied air of high art and high fashion. She is a frequent collaborator with luxury brands, museums, and design houses. When you see her, she is often draped in couture, attending galas in New York, Rome, or Berlin. Taiye Selasi represents a very specific kind of Ghanaian American wealth, the intellectual elite. Her fortune is built on her mind and her taste. She consults, she writes for the world's most prestigious publications, and she serves as a muse for designers who want to tap into the Afropolitan aesthetic she popularized. Her lifestyle is one of seamless global mobility. She might be writing a screenplay in a villa in Italy one month and hosting a literary salon in a Brooklyn brownstone the next. For Taiye, wealth is about access and autonomy. It is the ability to live purely on one's own terms, dictated by art rather than necessity. Her Ghanaian roots are the anchor of her work, exploring the pain and beauty of the diaspora, but her bank account is strictly global. She shows us that in the information age, being a tastemaker is a lucrative profession. She didn't just write about the Ghanaian elite, she became the poster child for it. Number 6. Cynthia Addai-Robinson, the action heroine with A-list equity. While some build wealth through words, others build it through physical intensity and high-stakes production. Cynthia Addai-Robinson is one of the most successful Ghanaian-American actresses working in Hollywood today, with a resume that reads like a checklist of billion-dollar franchises. Born in London to a Ghanaian mother and an American father, she moved to the US at a young age and has been steadily climbing the ranks of the A-list ever since. Her breakthrough came in the Starz hit series Spartacus, where she played Naivia. It was a physically demanding role that put her on the map, but it was just the warm-up. Cynthia has since secured roles in some of the biggest commercial projects in recent history. She starred alongside Ben Affleck in The Accountant, a film that grossed over $150 million. She was a key player in the TV series Shooter and Power, both of which have massive loyal fan bases. But the real game-changer for her net worth was her role in Amazon's The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. This is the most expensive television series ever made, with a budget of over $1 billion. Landing a major role in a production of this magnitude is like winning the lottery in Hollywood. The paychecks are enormous, the job security is multi-year, and the exposure is planetary. For an actress like Cynthia, this role likely pushed her annual earnings into the millions. Beyond the screen, Cynthia maintains a low-key but highly affluent lifestyle. She is married to filmmaker Thomas Hefferon and lives in Los Angeles, where she is part of the inner circle of successful Black Hollywood. Her wealth is the result of extreme discipline and strategic role selection. She doesn't just take any job, she picks projects with massive budgets and global distribution. She is the quiet power player, the woman who can seamlessly move from an indie drama to a billion-dollar fantasy epic without missing a beat. Cynthia Addai-Robinson proves that you don't need to be the loudest person in the room to be the richest. You just need to be in the biggest movies. Number 5. Koshie Mills, the momager empress and diaspora builder. If you want to understand generational wealth, you have to look at the architects who build it for their families. Koshie Mills is the matriarch of a modern Hollywood dynasty. She is the mother and manager of 3 famous sons, Kofi Siriboe, star of Queen Sugar, Kwesi Boaki, and Kwame Boateng. In the industry, she is known as the momager, but that title feels too small for the empire she has constructed. Koshie Mills is a media executive, a producer, and a cultural ambassador who has turned her family's talent into a multi-million-dollar enterprise. Before she was managing Hollywood stars, Koshie was already a successful business owner. She ran a thriving nursing agency, building her initial fortune in the healthcare sector, a classic path for successful Ghanaian immigrants. But she saw a bigger opportunity in entertainment. She didn't just send her sons to auditions, she strategically managed their careers, ensuring they landed roles that built their brands without compromising their dignity. The result? A family that is collectively worth millions, with Koshie at the helm steering the ship. But Koshie didn't stop at management. She launched the Diaspora Dialogues, a talk show and movement designed to bridge the gap between Africans and African Americans. She funds, produces, and hosts the platform, bringing together A-list celebrities to discuss identity, culture, and business. This isn't just a passion project. It's a branding vehicle that positions her as a thought leader and a power broker. Koshie lives a life of unapologetic glamour. Her social media is a mood board of luxury travel, high fashion, and red carpet dominance. She wears her Ghanaian heritage like a crown, literally and figuratively, often seen in regal kente-inspired gowns at major awards shows. She represents the fierce, protective, and business-savvy Ghanaian mother who didn't just want her children to survive in America, she wanted them to own it. And through her guidance, they do. Koshie Mills is proof that the most powerful position in Hollywood isn't always in front of the camera. Sometimes, it's the woman standing right behind it, holding the contracts. Number 4. Mimi Plange, the designer. Dressing the American elite. Fashion is a fickle industry. One day you are in, the next you are out. Unless you are Mimi Plange, then you are simply iconic. Mimi Plange is the Ghanaian-born, American-raised fashion designer who has quietly become the secret weapon of America's most powerful women. When First Lady Michelle Obama needed a look that conveyed strength, elegance, and modernity, she called Mimi Plange. When Beyoncé needed to make a statement, she wore Mimi Plange. Viola Davis, Janelle Monáe, Rihanna. The list of her clients reads like a who's who of global stardom. Born in Accra and raised in California, Mimi studied architecture before pivoting to fashion, and you can see that structural genius in her clothes. She launched her eponymous label in 2010, after a successful career working for major commercial brands. But Mimi wasn't interested in just making pretty dresses. She wanted to create a brand that fused pre-colonial African history with avant-garde American design. She called it the democratization of luxury. Her wealth comes from multiple streams. There is the private client business, where custom pieces sell for thousands of dollars. Then there are the corporate collaborations. Mimi Plange landed a massive partnership with Nike and LeBron James to design the LeBron Ain't Low X Mimi Plange sneaker. This was a blockbuster deal. Sneaker collaborations with major athletes are a goldmine, often involving upfront fees and royalties on every pair sold. The shoes sold out instantly, cementing her status not just as a high-fashion designer, but as a streetwear mogul. She has also collaborated with furniture brand Roche-Beaubois, expanding her aesthetic into the world of luxury interiors. Mimi Plange is building a lifestyle empire. She operates out of New York City, in the heart of the garment district, commanding a team that executes her vision. Her net worth is a reflection of her unique position in the market. She is the bridge between African heritage and American luxury. She proved that African-inspired design isn't a trend or a niche. It is high art, and people will pay a premium for it. Number 3. Yaa Gyasi, the million-dollar voice of history. It is rare for a writer to become a millionaire overnight. It is even rarer for that writer to be a young Ghanaian woman writing about the trauma of slavery. But Yaa Gyasi is a generational talent who defied every statistic in the publishing industry. Born in Mampong, Ghana, and raised in Huntsville, Alabama, Yaa grew up feeling the dislocation of the immigrant experience. She channeled that feeling into her debut novel, Homegoing. Before the book was even finished, the publishing world was in a bidding war. In 2015, at just 25 years old, Yaa Gyasi sold Homegoing for a reported 7-figure advance, over $1 million. To put that in perspective, most debut novels sell for a few $1,000s. $1 million advance is the industry's way of saying, "We believe this is a masterpiece." They were right. The book became a New York Times bestseller, winning the PEN/Hemingway Award and the National Book Critics Circle Award. But the initial million was just the seed capital. Homegoing became a global phenomenon, translated into multiple languages and adopted into university curriculums across the world. Then came the paperback sales, the audio rights, and the speaking tour. Yaa Gyasi commands high fees for university lectures and literary festivals. Her second novel, Transcendent Kingdom, was also a bestseller and was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction. Yaa Gyasi's wealth is quiet luxury. You won't see her flashing Lamborghinis on Instagram. Instead, you see the freedom of a writer who never has to compromise. She lives in Brooklyn, in a world of intellectual and financial security that allows her to focus entirely on her craft. Her success shattered the glass ceiling for African writers in America, proving that stories about our history, our pain, and our lineage are not just culturally important, they are commercially explosive. She turned the ink of her pen into a fortune, and she did it by refusing to look away from the past. Number 2. Akosua Busia, the royal legend and Hollywood aristocrat. If there is actual royalty on this list, it is Akosua Busia. She is a Ghanaian princess, literally. She is the daughter of Dr. Koshie Busia, the former Prime Minister of Ghana, and a mother who was a matriarch of the royal house of Wenchi. Akosua was born into wealth and political power, growing up in Ghana, Oxford, and royal circles across Europe. But she didn't rest on her family's laurels. She moved to America and built her own legend. Akosua Busia is best known for her role as Nettie in Steven Spielberg's masterpiece, The Color Purple. That film remains a cultural touchstone, and her performance is etched in cinema history. But Akosua's wealth isn't just from acting residuals. She is a polymath, a best-selling novelist, author of The Seasons of Biento Blackbird, a screenwriter, and a songwriter. She co-wrote the song Moon Blue with Stevie Wonder. Yes, Stevie Wonder. When you have songwriting credits with a music god, the royalties are eternal. Akosua's financial life is a blend of inherited status and self-made millions. She was married to the legendary filmmaker John Singleton, the director of Boys and the Hood, and they share a daughter, Hadar Busia Singleton. Through her career and her connections, Akosua sits at the center of Black American and African elite society. She has directed films, written screenplays for major studios, and interviewed world leaders. She lives a life of regal privacy. She splits her time between her family's estates in Ghana and her home in Los Angeles. Her wealth allows her to move as a diplomat of culture. She has been a fierce advocate for Ghana's film industry, using her Hollywood connections to bridge the gap between Accra and LA. Akosua Busia is the embodiment of old money meeting Hollywood hustle. She carries the dignity of her father's legacy and the creativity of her own spirit, proving that you can be a princess and a worker at the same time. Number 1. Bozoma St. John, the corporate marketing titan and multi-millionaire mogul. And finally, we arrive at the summit, the undeniable, unstoppable, and unrivaled number 1. When you talk about Ghanaian women who have conquered corporate America, there is one name that stands above all others: Bozoma St. John. Bozoma is not just a marketing executive. She is a celebrity in her own right, a brand so powerful that she eclipses the companies she works for. Born in Middletown, Connecticut, to Ghanaian parents and raised in Nairobi and Ghana before returning to the US, Bozoma's life has been a global odyssey. But her career? That has been a vertical rocket ship to the top of the Fortune 500. Let's look at the resume. Head of Music and Entertainment Marketing at PepsiCo. Chief Brand Officer at Uber. Chief Marketing Officer at Endeavor. Chief Marketing Officer at Netflix. And now, a cast member on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. A move that signals she has transcended the boardroom to become a pop culture icon. Bozoma's wealth is massive. Her net worth is estimated to be over $30 million. This comes from years of commanding seven-figure salaries, massive stock option packages, and signing bonuses that would make professional athletes jealous. When she joined Uber, she was tasked with saving the brand's image, a job that commands a premium price tag. At Netflix, she oversaw marketing for a company with a $200 billion valuation. But Bozoma is smart. She didn't just work for the man, she became the brand. She wrote a memoir, The Urgent Life, which became a major talking point. She commands speaking fees in the six-figure range. She sits on the boards of major corporations like Girls Who Code and Vital Voices. She runs her own workshops, the Badass Workshop, teaching others how to replicate her success. Her lifestyle is the definition of unapologetic wealth. She is famous for her fashion, bold, vibrant Ghanaian-inspired couture that she wears to the Met Gala and the boardroom alike. She drives luxury cars, vacations on private islands, and lives in a stunning home in Los Angeles. But what makes Bozoma the richest and most powerful woman on this list is her influence. She has the ear of CEOs, presidents, and cultural icons. She walked so that every other black woman in corporate America could run. She proved that you can be loud, you can be African, you can wear your braids and your beads, and you can still run the biggest companies in the world. Bozoma St. John is the blueprint. She is the richest Ghanaian woman in America, not just because of her bank account, but because she owns every single room she walks into. From the indie sets of New York to the billion-dollar boardrooms of Silicon Valley, these 10 women have rewritten the immigrant narrative. They didn't come to America just to participate, they came to take over. They have turned the trauma of history into the triumph of ownership. They are the designers, the directors, the executives, and the mothers who are shaping the future of the United States with a distinctly Ghanaian heartbeat. They remind us that wealth is not just about hoarding money. It's about creating value, opening doors, and leaving a legacy that your children's children can stand on. Whether they are selling books, selling movie tickets, or selling the very idea of cool to the world, these women are the gold standard. Who impressed you the most? Was it the literary genius of Yaa Gyasi or the corporate dominance of Bozoma St. John? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden empires of the world's most powerful women.